Have you ever felt like you're in a battle with yourself? You know, that struggle between what your body wants and what your mind, your soul, knows is the right thing to do? Well, that feeling is nothing new. In fact, it was basically the obsession for Renaissance thinkers. And absolutely no one explored this inner war with more genius than William Shakespeare. And we're going to kick things off with maybe the most famous expression of this whole conflict, coming from Hamlet himself. Just listen to this. He's marveling at how amazing humans are, noble, like an angel, almost godlike. And then, in the very next breath, he just throws it all away, calling humanity a quintessence of dust. That one paradox, right there, just perfectly nails the anxiety of an entire era over our dual nature. We're part divine, but we're also part dirt. Now, you gotta understand, for folks in the Renaissance, this wasn't some high-minded abstract debate. Oh no, this was a personal, intense, everyday conflict. See, they believed humans were unique, were the only creatures on Earth with an immortal soul, which puts us in this weird spot right between the animals and the angels. And being in that spot, it was both a huge blessing and a constant, agonizing battle. What's so fascinating is that Shakespeare gives us two totally different playbooks for fighting this inner war. First, we're going to look at one of his sonnets that offers a super clear, almost step-by-step solution. And then, we're going to watch how that simple solution just completely unravels and falls apart inside the psychological maze of his greatest tragedy, Hamlet. All right, first up is Sonnet 146. And honestly, you can read this thing like it's a direct order, a clear instruction manual written for the soul on how to win its war against the body. So the poem kicks right off with the speaker talking directly to his own soul. He asks it a pretty straightforward question. Hey, why are you starving on the inside, suffering this spiritual famine, when all your time and energy is going into decorating your body, these outward walls, to make them look all fancy and expensive? And then he hits us with this killer metaphor from the world of real estate. He asks the soul, why are you spending so much, this large cost, on your body? It's just a fading mansion, a house that's falling apart, and you only have a short lease on it anyway. Talk about a bad investment. So, the advice in the sonnet is brutally direct. Here's the deal. The soul is the master, and the body is just its servant. So, the soul should actually get stronger by feeding on the body's decline. Let the servant starve so that the master's treasure, your spiritual bank account, can grow. And here is the ultimate reward for all this self-denial. By feeding the soul at the body's expense, you do something absolutely incredible. You flip the script. You get to feed on death itself. By beating your mortal body, your soul wins eternal life. And then there's literally no more dying. It's a clear-cut victory. Okay, so that was the clear, straightforward answer. Now let's throw all of that out the window and jump into the absolute mess that is Hamlet. We're going from the crisp, moral clarity of the sonnet to the messy, tragic reality of a mind at war with itself, where, believe me, there are no easy answers. Now, to really get what's going on in Hamlet's head, we have to understand the battlefield itself. And for people back then, that battlefield had a name, the inward wits. Think of these as the soul's own special tools, the mental powers it uses to understand the world and tell the body what to do. And here they are, the soul's heavy hitters: imagination, memory, and judgment. In theory, these are what make us human, what lift us up above the animals. But in Hamlet, Shakespeare shows us how these exact gifts can become a paralyzing curse. So let's break this down. Let's see how each of these so-called wits becomes a double-edged sword for poor Hamlet, somehow both pushing him to get revenge and at the same time holding him back. First up, his imagination. On one hand, it's a gift, right? It lets him see his father's ghost in his mind's eye, which keeps that mission for revenge burning. But it's also a curse. It fuels his obsession so much that his friends worry he's desperate with imagination, and his own mother thinks the ghost is just a coinage of his brain. It completely blurs the line between a divine mission and straight-up madness. Okay, next up, his memory. This powerful memory is a gift because it guarantees he never forgets his purpose, not like his mother who moves on so fast. But here's the flip side. It's a curse that traps him. His grief is so raw that it feels like his dad died just 2 hours ago. It makes the present totally unbearable and paralyzes him in this endless loop of past trauma. And finally, his judgment, his gut instinct. This sharp intuition is a gift that lets him see right through all the lies at court, easily sniffing out Rosencrantz and Guildenstern as spies. But it's also a curse that creates this deep paranoia, distracting him from his main target, Claudius, and causing him to second-guess absolutely everything. And the craziest part is, Hamlet knows this is his problem. He says it himself right here. His natural drive to act, his resolution, gets all sick and washed out by the pale cast of thought. The very thing that makes him so human, his soul's amazing ability to think and reason and remember, is the very thing that's stopping him cold. So let's put it all side by side. You've got these two takes from Shakespeare on the exact same conflict. On one side, the sonnet gives us a clean, simple instruction manual. Starve the body, feed the soul, you win. But on the other side, the play shows us the messy, complicated, psychological reality. The soul's own best tools can create a tragic gridlock, a paralysis that doesn't lead to salvation, but to complete and utter ruin. And this is where Shakespeare the playwright is so different from Shakespeare the poet. Unlike the sonnet with its neat little bow on top, the tragedy of Hamlet offers us no simple moral, no tidy takeaway at all. Just think about his final words. He's literally dying, and he tells his friend, Horatio, "Man, if I just had a little more time, I could explain everything." But he doesn't. He cuts himself off. He takes all his reasons, all his justifications, the true state of his soul, he takes it all with him to the grave, leaving us with nothing but that chilling final phrase, "The rest is silence." And that feeling of frustration you get when you hear that, that's the whole point. By leaving the play's central conflict so completely unresolved, Shakespeare puts us right in Hamlet's shoes. We, the audience, are left desperately trying to use our own inward wits to figure it all out. And what do we get? The same silence. He brilliantly mirrors our own timeless internal battles by refusing to give us an easy way out. So we're left with the big one, the question that has haunted audiences for over 400 years. When Hamlet finally acts and kills the king, is it a calculated triumph of his noble soul finally conquering his hesitation? Or is it just a surrender to the most basic animal need for bloody revenge? Shakespeare gives us all the evidence, but he refuses to give us the verdict. The rest is silence.